I don't know if I've ever mentioned it, but I'm a pretty big fan of Digimon Adventure 02. And so when my video swapping the Digimon of the main cast of Digimon Adventure did so well, I knew I had to do it with Digimon Adventure 02. And on today's video, I'm going to be doing exactly that. What is up everybody, welcome back to another video, and after much request I am carrying on swapping Digimon partners in Digimon Seasons. I really did that first one as a bit of a kind of like, oh this might be fun, but I don't think many people are going to care about it, and you guys overwhelmingly in the comments told me you wanted more, so I'm definitely going to do at least 02, and next time we'll do Tamers. So 02. 02 is really interesting, and in some ways a lot easier because there's only really 6 Digidestined. Davis, Cody, Yoli, TK, Kari, and eventually Ken. Spoilers. I'm just swapping within this set of people, I'm not going to swap them with Adventure Digimon, but I'm going to try and keep my swaps in the Adventure video in mind for the 02 kids, as if this is a sequel to that swap. So right out the gate, obviously it would be very easy if we just swapped the DNA Digivolution pairs, if we swapped Ken with Davis, TK with Cody, and Yoli with Kari, but I just don't think TK and Cody and Yoli and Kari really is much fun, and also in my ideal situation, they wouldn't be the Jogress pairs. I think it makes far more sense if the pairs are still Ken and Davis, because there's really no need to swap Ken and Davis. I absolutely could. I could do like Davis and TK if I wanted, but what's the point? These swaps are supposed to be fun what ifs, but they're also not just supposed to be swapping for the sake of it. So I'm gonna keep Ken and Davis, but we're gonna do TK and Kari because, I mean, come on, of course they should swap. And then Cody and Yoli, again, two people that I think more naturally should Jogress with each other. I think their crests match much better, and their personalities and characteristics match much better. While Hawkmon is supposed to be a male, or at least male presenting, I always felt that they just put Kari and Yoli together for a DNA Digivolution because girls. So let's start with Cody and Yoli. Hey, Future Khan here. You can tell it's Future Khan because my hair's fully blonde now and not brunette like in the video. For once, I'm not here to have a go at Past Khan for making a mistake or not mentioning something. I'm actually here because I'm obviously about to talk about Cody, and we'll talk about the Crest of Sincerity later in the video. And I just want to take a minute to acknowledge that the US dub voice of Cody and Mimi and a bunch of other roles, Philly Sampler, unfortunately passed away today as of time of recording this little update. And it didn't feel right to talk about Digimon in general, but especially Cody and 02, without mentioning Felice's passing. She was incredibly talented, not just in Digimon, but in TV, other anime, a bunch of other productions. But her mark on Digimon is indelible to me. Her voices are some of the most iconic in the entire franchise, and she'll be greatly missed. I just wanted to say that before we carried on with the video. Back to Past Khan. Cody, of course, would get Hawkmon, and once again I'm keeping his crest or digimental, so Hawkmon would Armor Digivolve with the crest of knowledge into Fly Beamon, and I think this just really works. You can see Hawkmon there, it works with the crest of knowledge. I don't think there's anything really wrong with this idea or anything that needs fixing, so this is a canon evolution with the digiegg of knowledge, and I'm keeping it. I think it works great. However, Hawkmon with the digiegg of reliability Armor Digivolves into Orcamon, which I used for Gomamon in my first video. So yeah, of course we could keep Orcamon, but if we're trying not to use it, I think Tylomon would work here, the kind of ancient vibes of Hawkmon going in with the Tylosaur, which is like an ancient sea creature. It's not what Hawkmon normally Armor Digivolves into with the Crest of Reliability, but I think it works enough that we can kind of switch things over, so we're going to go with Tylomon. As for its champion, oh, we've got a winner here, and that is Baraimon. Baraimon normally Digivolves from Hyokomon, and the entire line is pretty much exclusive to Digimon Story Lost Evolution, although they did show up in Super Cross Wars too, but they've never had any anime appearances, no manga, VPETs, nothing, and Baraimon I think is just perfect as a Hawkmon Evo with Cody, tying in his like love of kendo and traditional Japanese arts, as well as just really looking like something that could digivolve from Hawkmon or even Biomon. I think it's a great fit. I'm super happy with this champion. I don't think there's anything that could fit better coming from Hawkmon, so yes, Hawkmon to Baraimon. I'll get to the Jogress in just a little bit after I've covered Yoli. So Yoli would get Armadillomon. Normally Armadillomon with the Digiegg of Love becomes Terramon, and with the Digiegg of Sincerity becomes Frogmon. I don't hate Frogmon, I think Frogmon kind of works, but I'm not overly enamored with Terramon. I don't really see the love here, and I get that kind of like armadillo flying kind of combines to like a pterodactyl kind of, there's like fossils and stuff there, but I'm just not overly enamored with it. I think what would fit a lot better would be Sethmon, which is normally Vmon with the Digiegg of Love, but I can definitely see it working for Armadillomon, it kind of being dinosaur-ish with that very prominent Digiegg of Love like Halsamon. And then I think I would go with Kabukimon to kind of echo Shurimon. Again, Kabukimon is actually Gatomon's Digiegg of Sincerity armor evolution, but we're making new canon here, and I just think Kabukimon fits much better, especially as a kind of mirror to Shurimon if this is Yolei's Armadillomon. But then we kind of get a little bit stuck. I don't think there's any particular Digimon that fits Armadillomon better than Ankylomon, even factoring in like the Crest of Love or how Aquilamon looks. You could make it go into Tortamon or Brachiomon if you really wanted to, but I don't really think there's a need to change this up. I'd love to just for the sake of it. Like if we're just going for the sake of it, let's just say Tortamon. But I think I want to keep this as Ankylomon. There's really no good reason to change this, you know? I'm not 100% happy with using the same evolution, but I think you'll agree with me that there's not many Digimon that fit as an Armadillomon evolution that don't just look completely different for no reason. And then I would make their Jogress Butenmon. This again is a Digivolution for Baraimon, but oftentimes it is a Jogress style or fused Digivolution. And I think it works quite well here, combining the samurai bird vibes of Baraimon with the armored feel of Armadillomon and Ankylomon. If you wanted to choose like Tortamon or something, I think that still works here, but overall I think it's a very good combination of the two. Then we have TK and Kari. Now, in my original video, the Digimon Adventure video, I swapped them around and said that what if TK got Salamon and instead of becoming Gatomon, it became Gladymon. This makes things more tricky. I've kind of tripped myself up for my 02 video, but let's work with that and see where we go. Whether TK gets Gladymon or Gatomon, I think a very natural evolution into armor would be Oryxmon. In the same way that Angemon and Pegasusmon go from like bipedal to quadrupedal, I think whether we're looking at Gladymon as the adult or Gatomon, I think Oryxmon really works, and it is Gatomon's armor Digivolution with the Digiegg of Hope. So I'm not too bothered either way here, and I think Oryxmon does fit in very well against kind of like Nefertimon and Pegasusmon, so I think that works nicely if TK is going to end up with Kari's Digimon, either a Salamon that becomes Gladymon or a Gatomon. This also again gets interesting because Gatomon armor Digivolves as a champion, so it would be Gladymon that Digivolves into Oryxmon, but you know, it's whatever. We can make it work however we want. So again, Gladymon would be the champion. It wouldn't need to Digivolve further in the same way that Gatomon doesn't become anything different in 02. Moving over to Kari, who gets Patamon, I think things get really interesting. So again, her champion would be Darkmon, like I chose in the Adventure video. I think this works really well. Nice mirror to Angemon. Armor evolution wise, Patamon's armor evolution of light in canon, fucking Mambomon.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mambo number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm not having it. I'm just not having that. I'm sorry. I don't care. It would be kind of funny maybe. I'm not having Mambomon. So instead, we're going to have Patamon with the Digiegg of Light become Maildramon. A lot of people have theorized that Maildramon should be something that showed up in Digimon Adventure 2020 for Kari. It didn't. I think it works for Patamon nicely. Again, it ties into the same vibe that Nefertimon, Pegasusmon, and Oryxmon gave up. On all fours, kind of holy looking. Works a whole lot better than Mambomon in my opinion. I don't care if it's a Miracle or Destiny Digivolution normally. I can't have Mambomon show up here. Not as an evolution for Patamon, not with the Digiegg of Light. We're going with Maildramon. Sorry. And then their Jogress. This was really the toughest one for me. TK's using Gladymon. That would be Gladymon with Darkmon. It's really tough. There are so many Digimon like Duftmon, Clavis Angemon, even Slash Angemon that would work so amazing here, but they're all megas. And personally, I really want to use Clavis Angemon, and I know it's a mega, I know, but if you can just work with my fanfic brain here, jump back 20 years, and let's just say they invented Clavis Angemon for Digimon Adventure 02 and made him an ultimate. Or a perfect in Japan. I'm really sorry guys, I want something better to work here, but quite frankly, a Jogress into an ultimate level for Gladymon and Darkmon, there's just not a lot that works. We could say like Magna Angemon if we wanted to, but that's so boring. Technically it wouldn't have been used, so sure. I'm happy enough, if we want to strictly stick to levels that are canon, I'm okay with Magna Angemon. Magna Angemon if we're not changing Digivolution levels, or Clavis Angemon if we can. Alright, and rounding out with the good boys, Ken and Davis, there's just no way I could have split these two up and it'd still be 0-2 for me. It doesn't make any sense. I do think it's interesting here though that Wormmon now gets access to 2 armor digivolutions, whereas Vmon would only have 1. I also kind of am wondering if Vmon would be a subservient creature to Davis's Digimon Emperor, or would it be just something completely different? I don't know what the plot would be here. Maybe in another video we can kind of expand upon what I think the entire adventure story would be with these swaps, but that's too much fanfic for one day. Anyway, the swap here is super simple. Because I use Vidramon for Matt, I'm not going to use it for Vmon. As tempted as I am in an ideal world, if I hadn't have used Vidramon for Matt, I'd probably use it here. But I think XVmon, again, there's not much point changing things up. I think XVmon works. However, if you did want a full-on swap, I think blue Cordramon would be a good compromise for Ken. It keeps a blue dragon form, which is very important for where we're going next, but kind of ties in more to the slight edginess of Stingmon, I think. Cordramon Blue or XVmon, again, I'm happy with either here. We'll say Cordramon Blue just so that we don't keep too many evolutions that were already existing. As for armor, yeah, Kangaroomon, why not? The Digiegg of Kindness is busted anyway, but you know, Kangaroomon looks like Vmon. I think it would be interesting for him to show up or not show up at all, much like Buchimon. I'm not mad at Kangaroomon existing in this canon. As for Davis, he would have Wormmon, of course, and Wormmon would digivolve with the Digiegg of Courage into Shadramon, one of the absolute best side armor evolutions we never saw in the show. So perfect, you can see Stingmon in there in the body, a little bit of Wormmon, the Digiegg of Courage armor on the outside. Mwah. Perfection. And then with the Digiegg of Friendship, it would become Togemogumon, which again I think kind of works. Honestly, I think it's probably better as an Armadillomon evolution. I've talked about this in past videos, but it's got the Crest of Friendship on there. It's blue. It's a nice kind of inverse almost to Rageramon. It looks like it's probably a lot slower, but more defensive. I think it works great. And Wormmon with the Digiegg of Miracles is Kongomon, which again is just such a perfect fit. A different kind of insect, admittedly, but such a good Golden Armor Digivolution that I think fits so well. Wormmon really lucks out with Davis's Digieggs or Digimentals. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to keep Stingmon here. There's no more perfect Digivolution. There's just nothing that fits Wormmon better than this. You could go to Kabuterimon or Kuwagamon if you really wanted to. I am almost tempted to go with Kuwagamon for a reason I'm about to list, but I think we'll keep Stingmon because their Jogress would be Dino Beamon. This may be a shark jumper for a lot of you because Paildramon just makes more sense, but if we're inverting the world, you know, changing everything around, Dino Beamon is the inverse Paildramon. I think it's worth keeping them at least with Blue Cordramon and Stingmon, if not just XVmon and Stingmon, so that we can get to Dino Beamon as their Jogress. And what's more interesting, as I've talked about a lot, Imperialdramon has always been a bit of a downer for me because I feel like XVmon really takes the lead, especially when we get to like fighter mode. So how interesting it would be if not only their Jogress was Dino Beamon, because Wormmon is now Davis's partner, Davis and Wormmon take the lead once again, and Dino Beamon does become Grand Kuwagamon. Grand Kuwagamon and Grandis Kuwagamon kind of replacing Dragon Mode and Fighter Mode I think would be hugely crazy. This is now deviated not just into like a viable cell, but almost like an AU, like everything is flipped AU. So while I think in general I'd probably prefer Imperialdramon and Paildramon, if we're doing these swaps, the Dino Beamon, Grand Kuwagamon, Grandis Kuwagamon is just such a fun idea to explore. Anyway, that is what I would do if I were to swap the partners of the Tamers in Digimon Adventure 02. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think I zeroed in a lot more on this one. I think it makes a lot more sense, but I'm sure some of you are going to disagree with me, so let me know what your swaps would be in the comments. Feel free to keep the Jogress pairs as they were or go completely off book if you wanted to, but I really enjoy some of the things we've got here. As always, liking and subscribing does help immensely in the algorithm, you have no idea, and channel members are getting early access to my new videos, including the manga retrospective that I've started, but now's a great time to join the channel. Really does mean the world that you guys support the channel so much. And speaking of, let's thank some channel members. The amazing Digidestined, Triple D, Night 12, Andrew Sobel, Sad Uncle Callum, Crimson Dragon Slayer, and Anthony Bontomasi. Digidestined, you are killing. I'm gonna give you a little mini dab, alright? Don't tell anybody. And my beautiful Tamers, Mewil, Errant Harpy, NQG420, The Blessed Rain, Sam Mallow, Nagel, Emily, John Hawkins, Mike McNulty, Theo Navarro, and Reese Williams. Thank you, Tamers. And to everyone in the Khan Club for supporting the channel, and I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.